Our next speaker will be presenting us about a process that brings data and design together. Please carefully follow while she provides us with on-point recommendations as tips and lessons. But before I invite her to the stage, a reminder for everyone is that she will be at the career stand at 4 o'clock. So now I'd like to welcome Eileen Chang.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Can everyone hear me? Thank you so much for having me. My name is Eileen Chang. I'm a web and product marketer, and I'd like to talk to you guys today about answering a very basic question that anybody who walks into a store or visits your website has. What is this service or product, and why should I buy it? Essentially, what's in it for me? So I'd like to talk about how my company used A/B testing and agile design methods to answer those questions for our customers and help them take the next step. So a brief intro on me and my company is I work at, it's confusing, Elance Odesk as of last week, and then we rebranded to Upwork. So now I work at Upwork. But essentially, what we are an online platform where companies hire independent freelancers to do work remotely over the internet. So you can hire somebody on our platform to build your website, design your blog, write 1,000 articles for you, or you could build a whole customer support team off of our platform. And this is a really new way of working, and most people have never heard of our company, let alone this type of work, what we call online work. So usually when I tell somebody where I work, they have a lot of questions as to how does that work really? So are you guys like a staffing agency? Do you find freelancers that will come to my office to do work for me? And then I tell them, no, it's remote, actually. This is virtual work. You can hire somebody from across the globe and work with them. And then they say, okay, well, do I hire you to manage the project for me, and I pay you, and then you just outsource it to freelancers, and then you get it back to me? And then I say, no, actually, you work directly with the freelancers, and you manage the project, and you pay them directly. So then when they understand that, then they say, oh, okay, well, then how would I choose among, you say you've got 4 million, 9 million registered freelancers on your platform. How would I choose the right one? And could I trust somebody that I've never met in person before to do something really critical for my business? So we have thousands of people landing on our homepage every day with these questions in mind. And let's see, did that work? There we go. So I want to talk about how we evolved our homepage to better answer those questions and help people take the next step, which is sign up for our service. So about a year ago, our homepage looked like this. And it did an okay job of converting people who were already familiar with our service to sign up for our site. It did not do a great job for people who didn't really know what we did, who we were, and they had a lot of different questions about our service, which we knew about because from having conversations with customer support team and our sales reps, we knew that there were a lot of unanswered questions, and our homepage was not doing a good enough job at answering them. The reason it was like this was we had just done a lot of incremental improvements, tests here and there to the headline, maybe changing around some buttons, maybe introducing some content. So our homepage kind of ended up looking like this sort of patchwork of ideas without telling a real unified story and guiding the user through, hello, welcome, this is what we do, this is how we can help you, this is why you should take the next step. One of the reasons that we didn't do a full redesign, or we waited so long to do a redesign, was that we just didn't think we had the time or the resources to do it, because our organization was kind of stuck in this old model where a business owner would have to put together a creative brief of, these are my problems, these are my objectives. They'd hand that brief to their creative department, and then our creative department would take it and go off by themselves, come up with some concepts, come back to the business owner with pixel-perfect designs. Then the business owner would give feedback and rounds of iteration and go on, and it would take months before you could actually get something in front of real users to test them. So this time we decided to take a different approach, a more fast and a more agile approach. So instead of telling our creative department to just go off and do something on their own, we put together a small cross-functional team of 1 marketer, 2 designers, and 1 writer, and we gave ourselves a challenge. In 1 week, we wanted to frame the problem, explore as many ways as possible to solve the problem, and then narrow down to 2 realistic concepts that we could actually get in front of users, all in 1 week. I have to say there were members of our team that were skeptical whether this could work because they were used to the old model, but we decided to try it, and within a week, we came up with actually 2 workable and very different concepts to get in front of users. So we intentionally decided to diverge our ideas so that we could have users compare and contrast the 2 designs and give us more useful feedback that way. So concept A on the left is one of the concepts that we came up with, and the main point here is in the top hero image, we wanted to explain what it is that we did. And we wanted to use that space in concept A to explain that, okay, we're a two-sided marketplace where we have, on the one hand, hiring managers from companies who work with, on the other hand, freelancers. And so here we've got a photo of a guy who's supposed to be, a small business owner, and he's sort of getting work done with the help of a freelancer over on the right. Concept B was actually more focused around the benefits to the business owner, the hiring manager themselves, getting more done, building your business, and it was very focused around that. So these were 2 kind of hypotheses that we had, and we had no idea which one was going to perform better. Turns out, users preferred concept A. They thought that it was a better way, it helps them understand what we did easier and more clearly. And by the way, when I say users, we slapped both of these JPEGs onto usertesting.com and got feedback back in about 3 hours. We just had people go and give qualitative feedback, and after that we said, okay, A is the winner. Now, it's definitely not perfect. We knew there was a lot of refinement that was necessary, but after 1 week, we had come up with a real low-fidelity sort of starting point that we could take further and refine. So the next phase that we entered was, okay, let's go with concept A and further refine it. And so we did 3 days of very intensive, rapid prototyping, user feedback, and iteration, where on the first day, we took concept A, and we invited people who had never heard of our product, but were actually in our target customer set. And we had them walk through this kind of workable, clickable prototype, scroll through the page and say, okay, think out loud. Tell me what it is you're looking at. Does this make sense to you? What questions do you have? And based on their feedback, we would refine the design at the end of the day and then test that new design the next day with a new set of users. So over the course of 3 days, you'll see that our designs changed, not a ton, but actually they got tighter and way better at answering those questions and telling that story and guiding users through, the what's in it for me experience. And so it was day 3, that was the design that we ended up with on day 3, and we decided to take this design now into development. So at this point, we'd already gotten 2 rounds of very helpful user feedback before we even put our engineers on it. So after we had our engineers build this on the page, we launched it live on our website, and we A/B tested it with our existing design. So 50% of real users, real traffic landing on our website saw our existing, and 50% saw the new. Turns out this new design drove an 8% increase in our sign-up rate, which was like the best test that we'd ever done, and a huge success for the team, and also so surprising because the whole project end to end took about 3 months. So a few lessons and tips that we took away from this. The first is we really needed to start by identifying where users stumbled. So what was keeping them from taking the next step? So to do that, we needed to know, who's using our product, how did they interact with it, and what questions were they asking? So at our company, we use a variety of tools that work together to help us uncover these needs. And so site analytics, like Google Analytics, Mixpanel, that sort of thing, those are quantitative tools, and they'll tell you the what and the how. So what are people doing on your pages? How long are they spending? How are they moving around on your site? But they'll never tell you why. They'll never tell you what it is that users are thinking when they're doing these things. And for that, you need ways to capture user feedback. There's no substitute for talking to and observing your own users. So we rely on customer-facing teams as well as surveys and interviews to do that. And then finally, once we have a good sense of what some of the problems are, we use prototyping and testing tools to quickly kind of validate those hypotheses and figure out, does this work? Does this new solution work better or worse than before? So the second takeaway that we had was do small experiments to validate hypotheses. So you don't need to start with a huge, expensive solution that's going to take forever. You just need some simple ways to test your hypotheses. And you can do that through testing your messaging, testing your calls to action, tweaking your flows, tweaking your content. You don't need to over-engineer too early. But when you want to try for a bigger change, when you know you need a bigger redesign, the key is to capture user feedback along the way and iterate and adjust as you're developing your solution so that you're more confident that you're on the right track once you actually launch your solution. So definitely don't wait till the end to figure out whether you're right or wrong. And then finally, even when you think you're done, right, so we were like, wow, 8% improvement, that's pretty good, you're still never really done. There's always room for more improvement. And so there were definitely some follow-on tests that we wanted to try to see if we could further improve our conversion rate. So one example is merchandising example tasks you could get done on our site versus showing the types of freelancers you could hire. So do people resonate more with design your website, or do people resonate with hire a web designer? Turns out that merchandising freelancers got more people interested, got more people clicking through, exploring the rest of our site, and ultimately signing up. Another experiment that we tried was, is it better to send people to search results of freelancers that could do their work, or to a category page where they could learn a little bit more about, that type of work, the types of freelancers that work there, and that sort of thing. Turns out category pages, we got some lift in sign up there when we tested it against search results. So the point here is that follow-on experiments complement the larger redesigns, and they work together in tandem to help answer that fundamental question, what's in it for me, and help you guide your users through your product and help them take the next step. So, thank you.